So, this video is about the current trend of some of the leaders in the Indian business making statements about the hours of time that employees need to put in per week. Started with 70 hours, and somebody went on to say that, work through the weekends. And then there was this very fascinating statement as to what can you be doing sitting at home on the weekends other than staring at your wife and your wife staring back at you. It's a waste of time. So, better things to do is to, continue to work on Sundays. And this he was asked when the organization is already making the employees work on Saturdays, as per the question that was asked. Why are you making the employees work also on Saturdays? So here the gentleman comes back with a very interesting answer, as and which I said was, what would you do sitting on a Sunday just staring at your wife? It's a waste of time, right? And come back to work. That's what the suggestion is. And it's unfortunate, and I don't know whether this was done as a joke, but there was a pride in the statement that, I continue to work on Sundays. What is missed out by some of these leaders is there some some subtle points that I would want each one of us to understand, that what is being missed out in this entire communication. The first of all, what is being said is that working like literally like a dog through the whole week is a badge of honor. Working on Sundays, working late nights is a badge of honor. And unfortunately, this is despite of the fact that recently a very young lady lost her life due to the stress of work in one of the big consulting firms, and that was put out by her own parents. They said the kind of stress that she went through because of late hours of work and the pressure that was put on her, that she literally lost her life at a very young age to a heart attack. So this is very recent, and despite of all that, we hear such statements, 70 hours per week, work on weekends, work late nights. It's a badge of honor. This is the kind of culture which is the hustle culture, the culture of putting pressure, and number of hours decides whether your success is and how you're doing in that organization. And I would just request all the leaders to please reflect as to what you are doing, because first of all, the kind of money that you make, and this particular gentleman who made this statement makes a huge amount of money. Would you be willing to sacrifice what you are earning? And and the whole reason is given that this is important. The organization comes back and puts out a statement rather than correcting what has been said, which I assume was perhaps maybe a joke, and trying to correct that. The organization justifies that statement saying it is time for nation building, but this is not how you build nations. By yes, if you want to do that, there are two or three other ways, and I want to share those. I've shared that in my blog post on LinkedIn, and I'm going to share it out here again. So the first thing is, you guys, the people who are saying this, are you willing to sacrifice for the sake of nation building and for the sake of equality, whatever you are earning, and go back to the median salary of the organization, and contribute and give back whatever the perks that you're earning, the salaries that you're making, and then share that equally with the people. I would also urge on some of these organizations to reflect back. If this is what you are thinking of nation building, then why not take whatever you're earning, the profits of that, and give back some of that to the employees. 25%, 30%, 40% of what you're making as profits, why don't you give back to your employees? If you're not doing that, then sorry, you're not trying to build nation, you're trying to be greedy. You are trying to maximize profits by working with these few people. There's a third idea that I would like to give, which I've also shared in my post, is that why not, if this is what you're looking at, instead of one person working for that 90 hours, why don't you give employment to one more person? So you have, it's a beautiful thing. It's nation building. You're increasing employment in the country. two people can do that job, give a job to one more person. But no, you don't want to sacrifice the money that goes out. You want to continue paying the same, but you expect the person to work twice a time, even give up his weekend, give up his Sundays, and then even stop looking at his own family. I mean, how can you, where do you get at this? That staring at your wife, there are other important things to do in life, right? Like not just staring at your wife, staring with your children, staring at your children, being with your pets, taking out time for yourself, taking time out for your own health. All these things are important, as important. Why are they important? Because first of all, the time once it is lost, and I've said this time and again to anybody, and this is my own experience coming out of 30 plus years of the corporate world, plus 9 years of as an entrepreneur. What are the experiences that I'm putting out right now? First of all, the time that goes never comes back. Time is your most valuable asset. The youth goes, it doesn't come back. The time with your children will never come back. The time that you can spend with your parents is never going to come back. You're not going to get them back after they are gone. So do that while you can. That's the first thing. The second thing, my big learning has been on health. First, if you put on this kind of stress, God forbid something happens, if your health is gone, you will just be running after doctors. We have seen many young people lose their lives and the prime of their youth. It is their family that suffers. So the second thing is the health is very important. Very important. I realize this after going through crisis. Please don't do this going through a crisis. Do understand that your focus on your health, the stress, the constant anxiety and pressure needs to come down. Otherwise, it's not worth it. It's not worth it if you lose your health. The third thing that I would tell anybody is that, in this world that is going to, don't look for safe jobs, and don't tell your children to look for safe jobs. You will have these kind of uncles. You will have all these kind of pressures that will come up. And in the future, be ready to be fired. All of us are going to have to face this, that multiple times through our careers, we are going to get fired. And then we tell our children, search for safe jobs. There are not going to be any safe jobs. The industries are going to change. And the first thing when things happen or things go wrong for organizations, they fire people. There are no emotions. There is no relationship. The day you die, you will be replaced, right? Very quickly. So there is no emotional attachment out there. So don't get emotionally attached to any organization, any leader. Start looking out for yourself. That's important. I don't mean that you don't respect the organizations that you work with. Do give in your best, but don't get married to the idea that, I'm going to have a safe job forever. When things go wrong, you will be fired, and the future is not going to be that, nobody is going to, you're never going to be fired. It's not going to be like my father who joined one company and retired. So don't prepare your children for safe jobs. The next thing that I will share with you to safeguard yourself from such situations that you land up is that, find something that you love to do. Find and follow your heart. It's why it's important is because if you're an artist, if you're good at something that you do, if you're passionate about what you do, you can really contribute and add to the world. It is not about the time that you put out at work. It is the stuff that you do out there. Is it coming out of love? Is it coming out of passion? That's what I do, right? I love to do that. And I've noticed that when I do that, when I give my best contribution to the world, the money is taken care of. It happens. Money is the outcome. It is the value that I add that's important. And the best value I can add is when I'm most passionate about something that I do. So figure out, you might explore, teach your children to explore the world. They might fall, they might learn, they'll go through, but always try to figure out what is that makes you come most alive. Because what makes you come most alive is the thing that is going to add the best value to the world. And when you add value, I have experienced money is taken care of. And the other thing that I would tell people is who are looking at this and seeing this kind of a trend of just putting you through a hustle culture, putting that extra pressure. that it is not about the hours of work. It is about the smart work, the world of the future. The way the work is shifting is, I see it as a collaborative world, collaborative work. What I mean by this is that people are going to follow their passions. It's already happening. You have seen such things occurring. They are going to do what they love to do. They will not be working for one organization. They will work for multiple organizations, and they will also bring in that quality time for life that they need. And I do that. I do this for many years now, and the teams that I work with are following the very same principle. So if you follow my this YouTube channel, this I completely keep on sharing about these ideas. I also run a community where I share about this idea. This is the future of work. It is collaborative. The skill that you need to learn is to collaborate with people and be able to deliver. This works for the organizations. This works for people. It's a win-win situation. And for those leaders out there, please think of this as one of the ways, instead of putting that pressure on that one person and trying to squeeze him out, try to do this kind of a collaborative possibilities that will be win-win for you and for that person also. And here, it comes down to the fact that, suppose if you land up with somebody, this kind of a thinking, of a leadership thinking which is happening, please, my advice to you is run, because this is not worth it. I have been through this myself. I have worked 90 hours. I have worked 100 hours. And after a certain time, this leads to a burnout. And when that hits you, it hits your health. And then, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it to be in that space. Please run and figure out something. And that's why I tell people that the future of world is, learn this entrepreneurial skill, because entrepreneurial skill is, and it's going to be needed, right? Whether you're sitting in a job or whether you're not sitting in a job, and if you suddenly land up with something so toxic, it's better. And you might, if you get fired tomorrow for whatever reason, you need to be able to stand up and do something on your own, something that you're completely passionate about, something that you're an artist at, something that is your stamp. Even in the world of AI, and I'm going to make a future a video on this particular, how AI is going to impact and what can you do to survive in this world of all the artificial intelligence that's coming in, the machines taking over the jobs. How still, what can you look at and what skills that you need to build. I'm going to do that as a separate video. But the point is that you need to have this entrepreneurial skill, the skill to start from anywhere, from the bottom, from the scratch, from the drawing board. You should be able to do that and learn. Important thing is that failure, this whole stigma of failure, that if I fail, that something has gone wrong in life. Sorry, failures will happen. We learned cycling by falling. We learned swimming by getting into the water. We didn't learn it on day one. We need to actually do that. Those are the skills that we need to teach our children. That is going to be important. But do continue staring at your wife, because time once gone is not going to come back. Do spend time with your children, because once they grow, they will find their life and they are not going to come back to you. And do spend time in doing things that you love to while you can, because there will be an age when you will not be able to do the things that you love to. And on the deathbed, ask anyone, what do they miss? Will they miss the money that they have in the bank, that I should have wished that I should have had a lot more money in the bank? Nobody is going to tell you that. But you ask them one thing that many people, and this research has shown this, that people say that what they really missed is not having spent time with their family, not having spent time with their friends, not having spent time with themselves. That is something that people miss. They don't miss the money in the bank. They miss that fact that they should have spent a lot more time with their loved ones. They should have perhaps stared at their wives more, their kids, their pets, been in the nature, read books, done all of those things, because life is much more and work is a part of life. So this is something that I very strongly feel about. So when I'm seeing this trend which is happening out here, of leaders coming one by one and saying that you need to do this, Yes, and then cloak that all under the idea of nation building. Yes, please, nation building is, I can do nation building if I'm healthy, if I'm stress free. And I have learned there is a smart way to work, and I will keep on sharing that. I work as a fractional CMO. I work for multiple organizations as a chief marketing officer, right? So previously I used to work in one organization, but I work at a fraction of the time, and I also give this at a fraction of the cost. So this, there are ways in which you can work smarter. So you need to think of smart work. It's not the time at work, it is a quality of work, it is a passion at work. What do you bring to work? That is going to be important. This is a longish video, a slightly longish video. Please watch this again and again, because this is what you are going to face. Please show it to your children. Share this message with your children, and spread this to as many people as you can, because they're all going to face this. You don't need to stop staring at your wife. You don't need to stop doing what you love to do. You need to have, I don't even say work life balance. It's a wrong way of looking at it. It's actually everything is life, right? Everything is life. Why do you live? You live for the people that you love. Unless you don't have that love in your life, then I'm really sorry for you. Perhaps you need therapy. To all these, some of these leaders, I would say, I just hope, and in the parting, I will also leave two more thoughts here. One is, somebody asked me this question: what about the money? From where, all this is good talk, but where does the money come? It's very simple. Money is an outcome of what you input. And when you put your input, your best, and you put your own stamp, this is my experience. I'm not sharing theory. If you put in your stamp of work, if you're good at what you do, if you're bringing in that passion to that work, and if you're most alive doing what you're doing, the chances are that that is going to add value more to people who are going to experience that. Imagine who is going to be more in demand: a person who's sitting in a bank. Let's simple example, giving example of a bank. A person who's doing a 9 to 5, or who's doing whatever he's doing and very grumpy and just struggling with his work and all the stress. Or you find somebody who is really enjoying, who converses with you, makes you feel good. That energy starts going out to the other people. You stand out from the crowd when you bring in art into any kind of work that you do. When you bring in that kind of love to the work, that joy to that work, you are definitely going to be far more greater in demand. Money is the outcome of what you give. So please give freely. I give a lot of this, all the stuff that I'm sharing, even now that I'm sharing, I do it freely. It gives me joy, first thing. It's very important. It makes me contented. Give very freely whatever the gifts that you have been given. Each one of us, I believe, has a separate, a kind of a gift that we can give to the world. So money will be an outcome. It will come. It will come when you put in your best, give your best contribution to the world. So that's my thing on the money. Another thing that I want to leave you with is, please don't compare with anybody. It's the biggest waste of time. The biggest reason why we are stuck into places that we don't like, and with bosses who are going to tell us, you need to work on Saturdays and Sundays, and we are stuck. We don't like the place, we don't like the culture, but we can't move out. Is because we are start looking at comparing. We buy brands, we buy stuff, we're hoping that we are going to show off to the world, and we're going to stand out, and we're going to make a statement to the world saying that I have arrived. See, this is the big car that I have, this is the big house that I have, this is what I'm, and that is, nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. Everything that you're buying, everything that thing that you're putting your money on, every stuff that you get into life, you're actually giving a part of your life away. You're giving part of your time away, because that money is gone there, and it's going to keep you more stuck. The more credit you're going to pick up from the market, the more stuck you're going to be in such toxic places. You will not be able to get out. So the point of the choice is yours. Do you want to just work for the brands, for the advertisements, for all those guys, or do you want to live your own life? Please think. The choice is yours. And to those uncles who are sitting out there, please reflect. Please don't give this kind of advice to people. Some of the people are dying with stress. Please look around what is happening. The young people want life. And not just young, everyone wants life. And it is not about time at work. It's about passion and love at work. And one final thing for the departments and organizations, please train such leaders in corporate communication. I've been head of corporate communications, and I would say please train people, leaders in communications. Today, everything that you speak goes out into the digital world, and everything spreads like this one. The infamous line of staring at the wife has gone viral. Please do train all your leaders in communications. It's going to be essential. But first of all, reflect on yourself. Are you a company with heart? Do you really care for the people that work for you? What do you think about? What are your thoughts on this? 70 hours, 90 hours, 100 hours? What are your thoughts? Please do share in the comments. I'm looking forward.